The Galactic Council's chambers were silent as the final vote was cast. Hundreds of alien representatives, each from a powerful race, watched as the decision was made. A deep voice echoed through the Grand Hall. By unanimous decision, humanity is hereby exiled from the Galactic Union. Effective immediately, Earth and its colonies are to be cut off from all trade, alliances, and interstellar communications. Any species aiding them will face the same punishment. A murmur spread across the chamber, but no one spoke against it. The decision had been made. On the center platform, Ambassador James Carter of Earth stood motionless. His expression was unreadable, but his hands clenched into fists. "You are making a mistake," he said, his voice calm but firm. The Speaker of the Council, a tall, reptilian Valkyrie, narrowed his yellow eyes. "No, human. The mistake was allowing your kind to join in the first place. You are unpredictable, dangerous, and refuse to follow the Council's rules. Your technology advances too quickly. Your war tactics are unsettling." Carter let out a slow breath. "So that's it. You fear what we might become, so you cast us out." A heavy-set, insectoid diplomat clicked its mandibles. "Humanity is a threat. You do not belong in our peaceful order." Carter smirked, but there was no humor in his eyes. "Peaceful? I've read your history. Every species in this room has conquered or destroyed others to gain power. And now, because humans refuse to bow, we are the problem." The speaker slammed a clawed hand onto the table. "Enough. Earth's exile is final. Leave and be grateful we did not choose war instead." Carter straightened his suit. He took one last look around the chamber, then spoke 3 simple words. "Remember this day." Then he walked out. The news spread across the galaxy within hours. Trade routes to Earth were severed. Human embassies were shut down. Some races cheered, relieved that the unpredictable species was gone. Others watched in silence, uncertain if the decision was wise. But as Earth's final message went dark, one question lingered in the minds of those who had voted for exile. Had they just made a powerful enemy? After Earth's exile, the galaxy expected chaos. The Council believed humanity would beg for mercy within a few years, unable to survive without trade and resources. But as time passed, something strange happened. Earth went silent. No distress calls, no desperate pleas, no signs of war or collapse. At first, the Council was pleased. "They are broken," some said. "Their arrogance is gone." But then, traders and mercenaries who tried to sneak past the blockade vanished. No wreckage, no distress signals, just gone. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some whispered that Earth had fallen into civil war. Others claimed the humans had become savages, turning on each other. But the most unsettling rumor was the one no one dared speak aloud. What if humanity was not dying? What if they were preparing? The Council sent spies, but they never returned. A few rogue captains attempted to land on human colonies. The lucky ones came back, refusing to speak of what they had seen. The unlucky ones simply disappeared. Then, the first strange reports emerged. A Vartari scout ship detected energy readings far beyond what Earth should have been capable of. A mining outpost near Sol reported seeing massive, unidentified ships moving through the void. Ships that did not match any known human design. Still, the Council ignored the warnings. If they had any true power, they would have used it by now, they said. Humans are finished. But deep within the Sol system, behind their impenetrable defenses, humanity was doing what it did best. They were adapting. They were learning. They were building. And soon, the galaxy would learn the truth. The Galactic Council remained confident in their decision. Years had passed, and Earth remained silent. No ambassadors, no negotiations, no signs of expansion. As far as the galaxy was concerned, humanity had faded into irrelevance. Some council members even began to believe that the humans had torn themselves apart, unable to survive without interstellar trade. But for those who truly understood the nature of humanity, the silence was more terrifying than any war. Then, everything changed. A small, insignificant skirmish erupted on the edges of Council-controlled space. The Ralvik Dominion, a minor but ambitious power, attacked a forgotten human colony on the barren moon of Karsus IV. It was supposed to be an easy conquest, a show of strength to prove their worth to the greater empires. The Ralvik fleet, though small, was armed with the latest technology provided by the Council. Their warships were advanced, their weapons powerful, and their soldiers well-trained. The Dominion's leaders had no doubt of their victory. After all, Earth had been cut off for years. Their technology should have been outdated. Their military should have been in ruins. But when the Ralvik fleet arrived, they found something that defied all logic. Instead of a struggling, desperate colony, they encountered a fortified world unlike anything they had ever seen. Massive orbital platforms hovered above the surface, bristling with weapons more advanced than any Council technology. The once small human colony had transformed into a military stronghold, its defenses impossibly sophisticated. And then, the warships arrived. The humans did not respond to hails. They did not negotiate. They did not threaten. They simply attacked. The Ralvik fleet, once so sure of victory, was torn apart within minutes. Their shields were useless against the strange, unknown energy weapons fired from the human ships. Their engines failed as strange, electronic warfare shut down their systems. The once great war fleet of the Ralvik Dominion became nothing more than debris floating in the void. The few survivors who managed to escape sent out desperate distress calls. The messages that reached the Council were filled with panic, disbelief, and horror. The last transmission of the Ralvik Admiral would be replayed in Council chambers for years to come. This is not the same humanity we exiled. The silence was broken, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council gathered in an emergency session, their vast chamber filled with tension. Panic spread among the representatives as reports of the Karsus IV battle circulated. The Ralvik Dominion, once eager to expand, was now silent, its remaining fleets retreating to their homeworld, refusing to engage in any further battles. The Council had underestimated humanity, and now the consequences were becoming clear. The speaker, a towering Valkyrie with emerald scales, slammed his clawed hand onto the table. This cannot be possible. Humans were exiled. Their economy was supposed to collapse. Their fleets were supposed to rust into nothing. His voice, once commanding, now wavered with uncertainty. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It displayed the wreckage of the Ralvik fleet, destroyed beyond recognition. Charred metal drifted through space, ships torn apart with frightening precision. The most advanced warships the Dominion had possessed were reduced to scrap in minutes. An insectoid diplomat from the HFY species clicked its mandibles nervously. Their technology should not be this advanced. They had no access to interstellar resources for decades. How did they build this? No one had an answer. Then, the doors to the chamber opened. A scout captain, barely able to stand, limped into the room. His uniform was torn, his breathing ragged. The Council members watched in stunned silence as he approached, clutching a data drive in his trembling hand. I was sent to observe the human-controlled regions, he gasped, his voice hoarse. I barely escaped. They knew we were watching them. They let me escape so I could bring back a message. The speaker's eyes narrowed. What message? The captain activated the data drive, and a single video file appeared. The image was grainy, taken from a damaged vessel, but the scene it displayed chilled every member of the Council to their core. A human fleet, dozens of warships, massive and imposing, hovered in deep space. They were unlike any ships the Council had ever seen. Their hulls pulsed with energy signatures beyond known technology, their sleek frames a fusion of design and function that made even the most advanced Council battleships look primitive. And then, a voice echoed through the chamber, played from the transmission. A calm, collected human voice. We remember. The chamber fell silent. The council had thought humanity would crumble. They had thought exile would be the end of Earth. Instead, humans had thrived. And now, they were returning, not as beggars, but as an empire of their own. Panic spread through the Galactic Council like wildfire. Every major news network across the galaxy was broadcasting the same horrifying footage: the wreckage of the Ralvik fleet, the mysterious and impossibly advanced human warships, and the single chilling message: "We remember." The once confident council members were now gripped with fear. For years, they had believed humanity was broken, struggling in isolation. But now, the truth was clear. Humans had never been defeated. They had spent their exile preparing. Urgent meetings were held behind closed doors. The most powerful species debated on what to do next. Some argued for diplomacy, hoping to reestablish control over Earth before it was too late. Others, particularly the warmongering factions, demanded a preemptive strike. "We must crush them now before they grow stronger," a Evax warlord snarled. "If we do nothing, they will soon be unstoppable." But deep down, even the most war-hungry species knew the truth. If the Ralvik fleet, armed with the latest council technology, had been effortlessly destroyed, what chance did anyone have against a full-scale human war machine? Then a second message arrived. It was not a threat. It was not an attack. It was an invitation. A human envoy, representing what was now called the Terran Dominion, sent a simple message to the council. "You exiled us. You tried to erase us. Now we invite you to see what we have built. Send your representatives. Come and witness the truth." The council hesitated. Was this a trap? A show of power? No one could be sure, but curiosity, fear, and desperation forced their hand. A delegation of high-ranking council officials was selected and placed aboard a diplomatic vessel. With heavy escorts, they made their way toward the Sol system, a place no alien had dared enter in decades. As they entered human space, their sensors picked up something terrifying. The void around them was crawling with warships, but these were not crude, desperate vessels built from scrap. These were sleek, powerful, and unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Some were massive, dwarfing even the largest Council dreadnoughts. Others moved with eerie silence, cloaked in strange energy signatures. And then, for the first time in 300 years, the delegation saw Earth. It was not the broken, dying planet they had expected. It was thriving, glowing with cities, industry, and technology centuries ahead of the rest of the galaxy. Above it, an orbital defense grid pulsed with energy, creating an impenetrable barrier of protection. The Council delegation realized the horrifying truth. They had not exiled humanity. They had freed it. The Council delegation landed on Earth, their minds struggling to process what they had seen from orbit. The planet was not the struggling, isolated world they had imagined. It was a thriving empire, its cities more advanced than anything in the Galactic Union. Towering megastructures stretched into the sky. Sleek, hovering transports moved in perfect harmony, and an eerie sense of order and efficiency surrounded everything. Humanity had not just survived in exile. They had prospered. They were led through the grand halls of what was now the Terran Dominion's High Command. Unlike the opulent, towering structures of the Council, this place was built for function. There were no unnecessary decorations, no displays of excess wealth. Every inch of the structure spoke of purpose, precision, and power. At the heart of the massive building, the delegation was finally brought before the ruler of the Dominion. He was no emperor, no dictator, but a leader elected by a unified humanity. Lord Chancellor Alexander Graves. His presence alone was intimidating. He was not a frail diplomat like the Council officials. He was a man forged by war, by hardship, by exile. And his gaze held no warmth. "You came," Graves said, his voice calm but carrying a weight that made the delegation uneasy. "Good. Now you will finally understand." A flick of his hand, and a massive holographic display activated. It showed the galaxy, but not as the Council had known it. Red-marked territories spread across the stars, growing outward from Sol like a living entity. These were not just human colonies. They were full-fledged human-controlled sectors. The Council had believed humanity was isolated, but in reality, Earth had quietly been expanding. "You thought exile would break us," Graves continued. "Instead, it gave us the freedom to grow without your interference, without your limitations, without your fear holding us back." The delegation could not speak. The sheer scale of what humanity had achieved was overwhelming. "You fear us," Graves said, stepping forward. "But let me make one thing clear. We do not seek war. We do not seek revenge." His eyes narrowed. "But we will never kneel again." Silence filled the chamber. The delegation realized they were not dealing with a broken species, not a forgotten people. They were standing before the most powerful force the galaxy had ever seen. And the Council's time of dominance was over. The Council delegation left Earth in stunned silence, their minds racing with the terrifying truth. The humans had not only survived exile, they had thrived beyond imagination. Their technology was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen, their military unmatched, their influence spreading across the stars in ways the Council had never detected. The very balance of power had shifted, and the Council had no idea how to stop it. Back in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, panic erupted. The recordings from Earth were played before the highest-ranking officials, and for the first time in thousands of years, the rulers of the galaxy felt fear. Some called for immediate war, insisting that humanity must be crushed before it could spread any further. Others, those who truly understood what they had seen, knew the grim reality. War was no longer an option. The Ralvik fleet had been destroyed in minutes. The humans had warships larger than anything the Council could build. And worse, their technology was completely unknown. The Council had spent centuries believing they were the peak of civilization. Now, they realized they had been left behind. Then the final message arrived. A single human transmission, broadcasted across every Council world, in every known language. It was simple, direct, and chilling. "You exiled us. You tried to erase us. Now we return, not as slaves, not as beggars, but as rulers of our own destiny. The Terran Dominion stands, unchallenged and unbroken. We will not seek war, but we will never bow. The old order is over. The future belongs to those who are strong enough to shape it. Choose wisely." The message ended. Across the galaxy, silence followed. In the dark halls of the Council, the speaker's voice trembled as he whispered the words all of them feared to say aloud. "We are no longer the masters of the galaxy." Far beyond their borders, in the vast and growing empire of the Terran Dominion, humanity watched. They had not forgotten their exile, their suffering, or the arrogance of those who had cast them aside. They did not need to fire the first shot. The galaxy would either kneel willingly or crumble before the unstoppable march of mankind.